Hey everyone, Shaedow here, and welcome to another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So I've been asked to make this video by a few people, which 4 stars are worth ranking up. Now before I get into it, and you can see all of the champions that I believe are worth ranking up still, I did want to talk to you a little bit about tier lists. If you've been playing for a little bit, you've heard of God tier, demigod tier, that sort of thing. Those tier lists are great for beginners. They give a beginner an idea of which champions are valuable. Once you've been playing the game for a while, you should have moved past needing those tier lists to decide whether a champion is good or not. In fact, you should transition over to the idea that each champion is a tool to solve a particular problem. There's no champion that is just straight better than another champion. There are champions that are better at a particular task than other champions. So that's just the way that I look at it. So if you ask me, is this champion better than that champion, that's the answer you're going to get. If you ask me anything about whether this champion is God tier or not, that's the answer you're going to get. I don't do tier lists, and that is why. Now, 6 stars are in the game, so that has, of course, lowered the value of both 5 and 4 stars, but there are still 4 stars that are worth ranking up. And this largely depends on where you are in the game and what your roster looks like and what you need for your roster. You should have a game plan for playing Marvel Contest of Champions. Are you going to be focused on Alliance War, Alliance Quest? Do you just want to do general questing? All of these areas make a difference when you're choosing which champions to rank up. But this list is a generic list of 4-star champions that I would not have any problem maxing out if I needed to. Now, the only exception to some of them is if you have the 5-star version. For example, Star-Lord. I would not rank Star-Lord up to 550 if I had the 5-star version of Star-Lord. Alright, but there are still some champions that are still worth ranking up even if you have the 5-star version of them. But, okay, let's go through this list real quickly. I'm not going to try to go into too much depth, but I wanted to explain a little bit about why I chose each of these champions. Alright, so first we have Archangel. Archangel has crazy damage. His neurotoxin, it decreases their ability accuracy, so he has a lot of utility. So he is very useful as a 4-star, especially since you can awaken him easier than you can awaken a 5-star. I have the 5-star rank 4 and I still haven't awakened him. And he needs to be awakened to get that ability accuracy reduction. Alright? Blade. Blade, whether you have the 5-star or not, the 4-star is still worth ranking up. He is just a beast. He does a lot of damage. His danger sense can shut down ability accuracy, so he has a lot of utility as well. Captain America Infinity War, awesome. If you've ever played him and you have fired off that L2, you already know why. He also has a glancing ability similar to Ant-Man, so he's a little tanky and robust. So he's really good to rank up as well. Corvus Glaive, beast. He doesn't need to be awakened. He just does crazy amounts of damage in a short period of time. Dr. Voodoo. He has a lot of utility. He can poison. He has power control. Those 2 things right there make him very, very useful. And when he poisons, he can convert buffs into poisons. So if there's an effect that triggers when their buffs expire, that can trigger it as well. So he's also very useful, and I would rank him up. In fact, I have ranked him up as a 4-star as well as a 5-star. Domino, same thing. She's a beast, lots of damage, lots of utility. Ghost Rider, again, utility and sustainability. He is great in Alliance Quest. His healing is awesome. Alright, and he also has some Nullify and some other useful utilities. Gwenpool, lots of damage, bleed based for the most part. When she's awakened, she cannot die to a special. That can be very useful. Of course, if the special has any side effects like a bleed or a shock or anything, that will take her out. Hawkeye, very useful. He is underrated, as I noted there. A lot of people do not really understand Hawkeye's power. He has power control and a very nasty bleed. Very useful champion. Hulk, lots of damage. Love me some Hulk. Hulk Ragnarok has some damage, but he also has some utility. He is great against mystics, especially ones who have some sort of passive damage over time, like Dormammu, his degen, or Magic's Limbo. Hulk Ragnarok actually will heal up 70% of that and gain attack. So he is great for going against those. Hyperion, a beast when it comes to damage. He does damage quickly. If you can get those Furies stacked, he is just crazy damage. Iceman has a lot of utility. Not only does he have those immunities, but he can tank a special 3. That is very useful. With that ice armor, very, very useful. We've got Iron Man Infinity War. Mostly, he is used for defense. If you've ever faced him in war, you know why he is worth ranking up. I actually only have the 4-star version, and he still gets me kills a lot of times in Alliance War. Killmonger, definitely an awesome champion. I'm not going to go into each of the things he can do, but he's great against evaders, especially. He does a lot of damage. He can go invulnerable on his L2. Very useful. Korg, new. I have not had a chance to play around with him a lot, but what I have seen, he's a great defender and worth ranking up. Luke Cage, when he's awakened, he can also tank special 3s, and with the buff that he recently got, he does a crazy amount of damage when he stacks those exhaustion debuffs. Magic, old school, still very useful and very much worth ranking up. Whether she's awakened or not, she is the queen of power control. Massacre, he is relatively new and a lot of fun to play. So I think he's worth ranking up, but your mileage may vary. I found him very, very much fun to play. Modok, he was also fun to play, and I have him as a 4 and a 5-star, and I did rank up my 4-star, and I have my 4-star in Alliance War on defense. So he is still a good defender whether he's awakened or not. Morningstar, she is very good, especially when you get her persistent charges going. When she gets those 5 charges, she is easily up there with the best of them. She has a lifesteal, an unblockable special 2. If you don't know about Morningstar, you really need to learn about Morningstar. Omega Red, he is new. I have him. I have not played around with him, but I've seen videos, and all that I've seen of Omega Red is he is pretty much a better Wolverine. So when I rank him up, I see myself using him mostly in Alliance Quest. And if you're running suicides, he is really, really good with suicides. That bleed actually procs his field, that death field that he has, which gives him even more damage. So if you have an Omega Red, he's definitely worth ranking up. Now, Quake, she is really good, but you have to know how to play her. She takes a different style than any of the other champions. In fact, most of us have coined the phrase Quake style because she has such a unique style of play. So before you rank her up, make sure that you like that style of play. And I'm not here to explain all of how to play with her, but she's definitely worth ranking up if you enjoy that style of play. Red Hulk, he also got a recent buff along with Luke Cage, and he does a lot of damage. He converts poisons to his heat stacks, which gives him more damage. So he is an awesome champion to rank up as a 4-star. If you have him as a 5-star, he is a good candidate to be ranked up. Definitely 3, possibly 4, depending on your roster. Rogue has some sustainability because she has a lifesteal on her special 1. She also has power control on her special 2. She's actually really good, and for Alliance Quest especially, because she has that sustainability. So she is also worth ranking up. Scarlet Witch, my old queen. She got nerfed really hard in the past. She used to be the top champion hands down. She was really overpowered. But even after the change to her, she is actually still very good, and people would love to get her as a 5-star, but she's not available as a 5-star. But even as a 4-star, if you can rank her up, max her out, get her signature to 99, she is actually very good still. So she does need to be awakened, in my opinion, before she gets maxed out. But even unawakened, she still has some utility, but she would not be worth ranking up unless she is awakened. Sentinel, underrated. A lot of people consider him for defense, but he is actually a very good offensive champion. Now, I have a video on my channel, and I really did not use him to his fullest, and I might make another video showing his damage once he's gotten full analysis charges up. But he is still worth ranking up even as a 4-star. Spider-Man Stark Enhanced. This is currently my favorite champion. I used him to go through Labyrinth of Legends. Of course, it was my 5-star version that I took to 5. But even as a 4-star, I use my maxed out 4-star in Alliance Quest. And he can do some crazy damage all the days, even up to day 5. Obviously, it depends on the path that you have in Alliance Quest, but he is really good. So worth ranking up even as a 4-star. Star-Lord, I mentioned earlier, he's worth ranking up if you do not have the 5-star. Now, I never maxed out my 4-star Star-Lord because I got the 5-star before I could take him up to 550. So all my resources went into getting the 5-star up, and I only recently awakened that Star-Lord, and it was too late to take him into Labyrinth of Legends, but he's coming back, and he seems to have a little bit more usefulness outside of Labyrinth of Legends and just some boss kills. Thor, also one of the old gods. He is still really good, and on my channel I actually took my 4-star in to I believe an uncollected and showed just how good he still is. So he's not available currently as a 5-star, but that 4-star still worth ranking up. Ultron is available as a 5-star. The 4-star still useful in Alliance Quest. He has a little bit less usefulness because of some of the other champions that are immune, but I still like Ultron because he has 2 guaranteed heals, so he has that sustainability, and you can play around those heals and get double heals, and it'll save you units and resources in Alliance Quest if you have to use him. Again, depending on your path. Vision. This is the OG Vision with that synthesis. To me, he is the king of power control. Magic is the queen. He is the king of power control. I have used that 4-star many a time in Alliance War to take down opponents. Now, he is available as a 5-star, but not regularly. It was a special offer, and people that bought him, they spent quite a bit of money, but he's actually worth ranking up as a 4-star because that's mostly what everybody's going to have, and you won't get him in the crystals. There's a special offer that came around. I ended up spending, I think, 4,000 units. That's also on my channel. I think I spent 500 for the 3-star, which opened up the offer for the 4-star, and then the 4-star was 3,500 units. Void. If you have not seen my video, I took Void into Labyrinth of Legends and took out Wolverine X-23. Go watch that if you doubt whether he is worth ranking up as a 4-star. Wasp. She's a relatively new character as well. I don't have as much experience with her, but from all the gameplay that I've seen, definitely worth ranking up as a 4-star. She is a glass cannon, but she deals a lot of damage if you know how to play her. Alright, Wolverine. He was my Alliance Quest king, and I still use him every so often for nostalgia, but Ghost Rider, along with the Blade synergy, has taken over as my Alliance Quest sustainable champion. Very useful. Wolverine is still a beast. I have a video where I took him into Realm of Legends. He was taking on 6 stars in the Uncollected and finishing the fights with full health. And I have heard of a synergy, I believe with Omega Red and I forget who else, that make him even more of a beast than he already is. So definitely worth ranking up. Same thing with Wolverine X-23. She does more damage. She regens less. Wolverine's regen is crazy. But X-23's regen is a little less, but she does a little more damage. And if she goes against a bleed immune champion, she still does a lot of damage. She does a lot more crits. Whereas Wolverine, when they're bleed immune, he loses a lot of his damage. And finally, we come to Yondu. He is very good. He has a heal block. He does a lot of good damage. Very useful champion as a 4-star. And if you can get him as a 5-star, definitely worth ranking up as well. So that's my list of 4-stars that I believe are still worth ranking up. Now, something else to keep in mind when you're considering whether to rank these guys up is where are you planning on using them. If you don't have a place to use them, then don't rank them up. But take for example Void. I don't have a 5-star Void. We were in an Alliance War and I was actually on reserve at this time, and one of our members asked for help. They had come up against a Green Goblin on node 24, which was that crazy regen, and they needed some help. They didn't have the right champions, and so I went in with my 4-star Void and took out that node. So a lot of these guys still have great utility. Remember, they are tools to solve a particular problem. So in that case, I saw the problem and I chose the best tool that I had. If I had the 5-star Void, I would have brought him, but since I only had the 4-star, I brought him and made that work. And we still got him down. Alright, so just something to keep in mind. These guys are still useful, or can be useful, but depending on your roster, where you are in the game, the modes that you play the most, that will determine whether you find these guys useful or not. Okay, so that's going to do it, guys. Hopefully you found this informative and useful. If you did, please consider smashing that like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you have any comments, if you have any concerns or questions. I did not list every single champion, but there are other champions that aren't bad to rank up. These are just what I consider my top champions to rank up. I don't have to even really think about it because a lot of them I've already maxed out, and some of them I'm working on maxing them out. Alright, if you would like to support the channel, there are links in my description to help you do just that. Give me a subscription if you haven't subscribed to me already, and you guys have a blessed day.